Coming up on BearZone, women's soccer invited some Vandals and Eagles to Greeley over the weekend.
Also, the football team went to North Dakota in search of revenge.
We also have an update on volleyball and tennis.
We've got all that and more this week on BearZone. Don't go anywhere. The women's soccer team returned home after defeating Sacramento State, and they kept that energy hot Friday night. Thanks to Caitlin Meter, UNC got a 1-0 lead in the first half, and then broke open a game which saw very few offensive opportunities until then. Meter received a pass from Kenzie Engelkins, which allowed her to arc the ball past Idaho goalkeeper Michaela Pressgrave and into the side netting. The second half invited more scoring opportunities for both the Bears and Vandals. The game became noticeably more physical, but UNC continued to interrupt the Vandals as the game opened up and made a number of defensive stops. The Bears had a chance to grab the two-match sweep when they played Sunday afternoon against Eastern Washington.
Unfortunately, the Bears didn't make good on that chance as Eastern Washington beat UNC 2-0. Offensively, the Bears struggled to generate shots throughout most of the match. The first goal came from Sage Lyons, who beat Madeline Burdick from just beyond the box on the right side. 10 minutes later, Jenny Chavez blocked a Bears pass attempt, giving the Eagles a 2-goal advantage. UNC and Eastern Washington each had 9 total wins coming into play, and the match was an opportunity for the Bears to upset the defending Big Sky champions. UNC plays Southern Utah and Cedar City tomorrow, and then returns to Jackson Stadium October 20th to play Montana.
The Bears packed up and headed north to rumble with the Skyhawks from North Dakota. Both offenses threw some haymakers, but UNC eventually got knocked out in the fourth quarter, losing 48-38. The first half was almost a copy and paste of last week. The UNC defense couldn't contain the running attack. North Dakota gassed the Bears on the ground to put up 28 points in a quarter and a half. Down 28-7 in the second quarter, UNC banded together and went on a 17-point run, capped off by a 1-yard run by Trey Reek to end the half. The haymakers began in the second half when UNC took the lead to open the third quarter on another Reek touchdown. But North Dakota quickly responded with a field goal to tie the score at 31 at the end of the third quarter. Then came the knockout. North Dakota went on a 17-7 run in the fourth quarter to send the Bears back to Greeley with their second consecutive Big Sky loss. This loss put a sour taste in UNC's mouth with a bye this week, but the good thing is next week is homecoming and the Bears host Montana State at 12:30. We've had an interesting week of weather here in Greeley. What are the current conditions outside, Abigail?
It has been an absolutely beautiful day here on campus. Right now, 74 degrees, sunny skies, and winds at 9 miles an hour. But that was a far cry from what we saw on Monday, where we saw our first snowstorm of the season, and it was absolutely beautiful here on campus. With the yellow trees, the green grass, and the snow on the ground, it looked more like a blend of the seasons, summer, fall, and winter here. Now, so far in 2017 of October, we have met or exceeded the state records for the high and low for October. On the 7th, we recorded a high of 78 degrees, and on the 9th, we recorded a low of 31 degrees. Just before and during the storm, we saw a 10-degree high temperature drop during the storm. Now, we did see a measurable amount of snow here at the UNC Greeley Weather Station. However, this snow did not make it to the record books, and that's because as the clouds went away, the temperatures warmed up and melted the snow by the time they took observations at 4 p.m., leaving them with just precipitation amounts to record for the records of the day. Now, we were fortunate enough to have CoCoRaHS observers around the area report some snow totals, and it looks like close to Greeley we saw 0.2 inches of snow, where further northwest we saw reports more towards 1 inch. Michaela will have more on how the storm affected Coors Field. Back to you.
After a strong showing against Colorado Christian in their first preseason game, the UNC softball team flexed those same muscles against Metro State and Colorado School of Mines. First up, a battle against Metro State. The UNC pitching staff kept the Roadrunners' bats at bay with easy pop-ups and strikeouts. At the same time, the UNC offense blasted an early home run, giving the Bears a win. UNC kept their winning ways with a demolishing of Colorado School of Mines a week later. The Bears scored 6 early runs and never looked back. Stay tuned to BearZone next week for more softball highlights versus Colby Community College.
It may be a couple months until the tennis season is actually here, but the women's team got some preseason work at Colorado State University over the weekend. In the 3-day tournament, the Bears showed some life on the final day. 2 Bears picked up singles wins. Tristan Bryant Otaka and Mana Kodabashi both won 3-set thrillers. While on the second day, Bryant Otaka and Rafa Mora served up a doubles win over Wyoming. The wins give UNC head coach Brenda Gallegos an idea of what to expect in a couple of months. We'll keep you updated on the team's preseason next week on BearZone. After the break, Michaela has the weather for the Broncos game Sunday night. We'll be right back.
Welcome to my block party. Glad you can make it.
The only triple doubles you get come with fries.
Last time you blocked someone, you were online.
I can do this all day. Your moves are just gay.
Using gay to mean dumb or stupid, not cool.
Not cool.
Not in my house, not anywhere. It's not creative, it's offensive to gay people. And you're better than that.
Clean kitchen surfaces, utensils, and hands with soapy water. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Welcome back to BearZone. I'm meteorologist Michaela Lucero. Even though the Rocky season is over, Coors Field still looks absolutely beautiful. This is a photo from the snowstorm we had on Monday. On Friday, soccer heads to Southern Utah University for a game at 4 p.m. Temperatures will be in the mid to upper 60s, and the weather will be absolutely beautiful. Also on Friday, volleyball heads to Montana for a game at 7 p.m. It's a good thing this game is indoors because the weather will be wet and cold. By 8 p.m., it'll be raining and temperatures will be in the mid-30s. Cross country heads to Santa Clara for a meet on Saturday that's supposed to last all day. At 9 a.m., temperatures will be in the low 50s, but will warm up to 70 degrees by 12 p.m. The high of the day is almost 80 degrees. Now, with our cross-country team heading out to California, it's important that we look at the wildfires that are going on. The closest wildfire is the number 37 fire. It's right off of Highway 35 near Sears Point. However, that's still a pretty far distance from Santa Clara, so our runners should be safe. But please keep in mind all of our first responders because there's still hundreds of fires burning and thousands of acres have been burnt. On Sunday, the UNC softball team takes on Colby Community College with their first game at 1 p.m. and temperatures at 48 degrees, and their second game at 3 p.m. with peak temperatures in the upper 50s. The Avalanche season is just heating up. On Friday, the Avalanche will be in Denver taking on the Ducks. The game starts at 7 p.m. and temperatures should be around 55 degrees for those of you walking into the Pepsi Center. On Saturday, the team will head out to Dallas to take on the Stars. The game starts at 6 p.m. and temperatures will still be at 90 degrees. It's a good thing it'll be cool in the rink. On Sunday, the Broncos take on the New York Giants. Kickoff is at 6:30 p.m. If you're going out to tailgate, expect temperatures in the upper 50s. However, the sun's going down at 6:20 p.m., and with the sun going down, so will the temperatures. By 8 o'clock around halftime, temperatures will be in the 40s, so make sure you bundle up if you're heading out to the game. Have you ever wondered how cold weather affects football? Well, 3 things we like to watch are wind, precipitation, and temperature. Wind will cause a team to run the ball more often because passing efficiency is lower due to wind resistance. Precipitation is actually too infrequent, and we can't really assess how it affects football. Temperature, however, now that has a pretty big impact on football. Let's take a look at this chart. This graph represents the % chance that a team will win based on the temperatures of the game they're playing in. Let's look at this red line. This red line represents teams that practice and play in domes, like the Atlanta Falcons. If the Falcons are playing a game with temperatures at 20 degrees or below, they have about less than 10% chance of winning that game. Whereas if we look at this blue line, the blue line represents teams that practice and play in cold temperatures, like your Denver Broncos. So if the Broncos are also playing a game with temperatures at 20 degrees or below, they'll have upwards to a 50% chance of winning that game since they're used to the cold weather. So next time your team doesn't do so well, just blame the weather. Speaking of cold weather, the coldest record football game was played in 1967. It was in Green Bay. It was the Packers against the Cowboys, and it was labeled the Ice Bowl because it was so cold. Any guesses as to what the temperature was? Drum roll, please. Negative 13 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, I would have stayed inside and watched this one from the couch. You know who else is watching football from the couch? J.J. Watt and Odell Beckham. Stay tuned to hear more about NFL injuries. And go Broncos!
The Broncos got an extra week of rest and relaxation before the New York Giants visit Mile High on Sunday night. But the Giants weren't so lucky. In the fourth quarter of the Giants' loss 27-22 to the Los Angeles Chargers, team doctors carted New York star Odell Beckham Jr. off the field. Beckham fractured his left ankle trying to make a catch and will undergo surgery later this week, ending his season. The Giants weren't the only team to suffer a big-name injury either. Fans watching Sunday Night Football saw Houston Texans defensive end J.J. Watt go down with an apparent knee injury. Watt fell to the ground when he tried to get his first sack of the season, and now he won't have another chance. He underwent surgery Monday to repair a tibial plateau fracture and won't be back on the field this year. Injuries can be devastating in the NFL. The Broncos hope to evade the woes of the Texans and Giants Sunday night in Denver. Kickoff is set for 6:30 p.m.
The MLB regular season may be over, but the postseason is far from it. After the wild card games, the division series was set. The Yankees headed to Cleveland to take on the Indians. After losing the first two games of the series, the Yankees bounced back to tie the series and force Game 5 last night. The Yankees took Game 5 5-2 and head to Houston tomorrow night for the American League Championship Series. The Arizona Diamondbacks weren't so lucky. The trip to Los Angeles was short-lived as the Dodgers swept the D-backs in 3 games to advance to the championship series. With the division series tied between the Chicago Cubs and the Washington Nationals, the Dodgers await their opponent. Chicago and Washington face off in Game 5 tonight, and the winner heads to LA Saturday.
The United States has always been a powerhouse in the world of sports. But for the first time in 32 years, the men's soccer team didn't qualify for the World Cup. Every 4 years, 32 teams from all over the world vie for the prize of the best soccer country. In a shocking turn of events, the United States won't be one of those teams. Tuesday night, Trinidad and Tobago pulled off one of the biggest upsets by beating the U.S. 2-1. The news of the loss turned social media upside down, with people asking for everything from the firing of coaches to exiling the players. Even with the social media buzz, the United States can only watch from home this summer instead of traveling.
In less than a week, it will be time to pull out those LeBron, Curry, and Harden jerseys from the closet. Why, you ask? Well, the NBA season is back and with a lot of new-look teams. Once again, Kevin Durant and the Warriors are the favorites to take the title, but with some teams waiting in the shadows. The Warriors have some competition in the West with the Thunder and Rockets. The Thunder added Paul George and Carmelo Anthony to create 2/3 of a trio with last year's MVP Russell Westbrook, while the Rockets added former Clipper guard Chris Paul to assist with James Harden. On the other side, Eastern powerhouse, the Cleveland Cavaliers created some buzz when they traded guard Kyrie Irving to the Celtics in exchange for guard Isaiah Thomas. Thomas joins LeBron James, Kevin Love, and Dwayne Wade in Cleveland. Meanwhile, Irving joins the other powerhouse, Boston Celtics, who added Gordon Hayward from the Jazz. With the season starting Tuesday, we can't wait to see how it turns out. Stay tuned to BearZone next week for highlights.
And that is our show for tonight. Be sure to stay up to date on our Twitter and Instagram pages, BearZone UNCO, and on YouTube, Bear News 98.
Make sure to like us and to join us every week for BearZone. All sports, all the time for UNC Athletics. Good night.